Hello, so this is my presentation for my skeletal comparisons between a normal skeleton and my friend George right here. This is my pretty looking presentation that I had. Took a long time searching to find one that looked pretty and sophisticated. So this skeleton I noticed didn't have a lot of definitive things, which is irritating for me because now that I know all of the bones, it doesn't really give good representation. So the first thing that we're going to start with is the head. So when we're looking at the head, you can kind of see definitive lines of places of where things are, like the starting off with the parietal bone, parietal bone, yeah. It should be right here, but it's not. So it's not definitive. And then the frontal bone is not very definitive, the temporal bone is not very definitive, the maxilla is not very definitive. So there's multiple things that are just not definitive on the face, except for the orbits, which are like the eyes, or the nasal bone and the teeth. Like those are pretty accurate, which are like pretty basic things on a skeleton. So that's the head that I was starting off with. Then we go to the thoracic, chest, and back. So it can't, like right here, this can't bend like an actual skeleton. But that we'll talk about that when we get to arms. So the ribs are usually supposed to have 12 on each side, meaning 24 ribs total, including the floating ribs. But on this one, for some reason, there's only 10 or only 12, meaning 6 on each side, and 2 floating bones. That's pretty inaccurate, so I give them a 0 out of 10 on that one. Then we go to the costal cartilage. It's not very, you can't really, it's not definitive. The scapula right here is kind of definitive. It kind of looks like a triangle, so it doesn't go like the way that I thought it would, like on the back. See how it's like, it just kind of looks like a triangle. I mean, I guess it does look kind of like a triangle, but it still is weird. The clavicles right here, or clavicle, are the collarbones, and they look pretty definitive. I don't really know what it looks like that on top because it's like all filled in, but I mean, it's whatever. And the floating ribs look pretty similar. They're just kind of hanging out back there, not connected to the sternum, which is here, but there's no little piece at the bottom, which is the exvoid. Exvoid? Yeah. So not very, I mean, there's a sternum, but, and then it doesn't have a definitive piece saying the manubrim, or I guess, actually, no, there is. I didn't even look at that. There's a little piece right there, a little cutoff line, but I guess it's there. So that's the thoracic, chest, and back. Also, or I'll talk about the pivot joint once we get to the spinal cord. I keep wanting to go ahead. So the arms, which I was going to talk about, which connects to the thoracic, chest, and back, is they annoy me because why can the legs move but the arms cannot move? Here we have the humerus, and we have the radius and the ulna. They look pretty good, I have to say. I mean, definitely not 100% accurate, but they're showing. The phalanges and the metacarpal bones on the hands are so inaccurate. They just have little lines, like little markings on the hands. And to me, that's a very poor representation. Also, the hinge joint between the radius and the ulna and the humerus is not very accurate either. This needs to move down. Oh, that's more helpful. Are not accurate either because it can't move like a hinge joint would. So ball and socket joint and hinge joint are no. So that's for the arms. Also, sorry, it's not letting me click. There's a spinal cord. Okay. The spinal cord has a good kind of showing of the spinal cord in general, but then you go deeper into it and you're just like, oh, this is like so stupid. So what I have to say about these is the cervical vertebrae, the thoracic vertebrae, the lumbar vertebrae and the sacrum and the coex. I can never say that. Are there, but they're not definitive. So if you look at the sacrum, like it doesn't even look like it's there. It looks like a little tiny, like a little like line, which looks more like the coex, but just by itself and way longer. So I think that's a very poor representation of it. And then, like, it's not a very accurate number of the pieces of spine that there is when it says that they're numbered and stuff, so that doesn't make sense either. And the invertible discs are not very, I mean, unless those lines are, but then no, they're not accurate. The transverse processes are not accurate either. You don't have those coming out the sides, and also the design of it is not very good either. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that. And then also we'll talk about the sacrum and the coex when we get to pelvis, which is next. So like I said, very inaccurate for both of those. Then you get to the ilium, which is right here, and those are very accurate, so that's cool. One thing that is very accurate. And then we're looking at the pubic bone here, and once you get into it, I just need to try and remember the name. Ischium is down here, ischium, and then the pubic symphysis, yeah, is down there, and then you have sacrum and the coex, which doesn't look very accurate. So these are not accurate on the skeleton. Also, there's the ball and socket joint, which connects to, which is next, the legs, right here, but this one actually is accurate somewhat, even though it goes all the way around, because it does move like an actual joint would let you do. Okay, so the legs and the feet. So we got the femur, we got the patella, the tibia, and the fibula, and then we got the feet. We have the tarsals bones, which are not accurate whatsoever. You cannot see them. The metatarsal bones are not accurate whatsoever. You cannot see those. The phalanges are not accurate. You cannot see those. I mean, they tried, but they're little tiny lines, just like on the hands. I'm like, what is that? The talus isn't accurate, and the calcaneus, I can never say that. I don't know what to say about that because this is what it's supposed to look like, but it's not definitive like it is in pictures or what it actually looks like. So yeah, I would say a no on the description of the feet. Plain joint right here is not necessarily accurate because you can't move the foot. And I would also say that my stepdad was eating chip. Oh, and that is my cat. Oh, Romeo, you do not need attention right now. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, get down. Okay, I'm just gonna leave that in there because I don't want to edit that out. Sorry, Miss Russell. Okay, so everything is accurate with the legs. The feet, I would say no. Yeah, you can see the so it's like a little dot, but still. Oh my gosh, I know you love me. Go upstairs and see Clint. Okay, and that is all for my presentation. No. Yeah, there we go. That is it. I'm so bad at taking videos. Whew, okay, I will upload this video and I will send you the link. So that's my descriptions.